turn to the aforementioned and former Trump advisor, Sam Nunberg. Welcome back, sir.
Hi, thank you for having me, Ari.
Absolutely, Sam. I mentioned your experience because it's one thing to stand outside and look and watch and judge, as people do. It's another thing to go through it. And you did, and you went through it, made it to the other side, as Mr. Meadows might, without any prosecutor saying, for example, that you obstructed or anything worse. You went through it and you cooperated. So with that in mind, what do you think of the news that some of these individuals like Meadows now are cooperating with Smith? What does that mean for Donald Trump?
Well, I think that the president and his legal team were aware that Mark Meadows was going to be testifying because I had heard that Donald Trump is actually saying nice things about Meadows recently, as of 6 months ago, when he was criticizing Meadows once Meadows released this book, The Chief's Chief. And of course, he was criticizing Meadows after he left office, blaming him for the election results. So it's not such a surprise. And in fact, I've also heard from someone firsthand that spoke to Meadows, an early influential person in a primary state. And Meadows was trying to garner his support for Donald Trump. So I think they've brought Meadows back into the fold here. Meadows' lawyers, I'm going to assume, are sharing information legally with Trump's defense team, and it's to be expected. But the difference between Mueller and this investigation as well is, yes, Donald could not get indicted during Mueller. This investigation, and perhaps this election, heading into the general election, is Donald fighting not to go to jail.
Yeah, you say that, and we showed Bill Barr. He talked about the type of mistakes that Trump is making against his own interests. You've also, as I said, had a front row seat. Here's what Barr was just saying today.
He's so egotistical that he has this penchant for conducting, risky, reckless acts to show that he can sort of get away with it. It's part of asserting his ego, and he's done this repeatedly at the expense of all the people who depend on him to conduct the public's business in an honorable way. And, we saw that with both impeachments, and there's no excuse for what he did here. Whether it's a crime or not remains to be seen.
When you see the outlines of the accusations, does it ring true that people tried to sit Trump down and say, if you give these back in time, we could put this all behind you? People who are on his team, legally and otherwise, and that he just rejected all that?
Well, I'd point to an article by Maggie Haberman, who reported to Mark Meadows that people were sitting with Donald a mile and a half from me. I'm sitting here in Florida. They were sitting with him for months in 2021, telling him to give the documents back. But I think there's something very important that's the real development here. Politically, within the primary, and I know this, if he's simply indicted for holding these documents, for obstructing justice, I don't believe that'll hurt him. In fact, it could help him within the GOP primary, while it would hurt him in the general election. If there is an indictment, and there could be, because there's a grand jury in Florida, if there's a charge, Ari, related to him showing this information to people, being cavalier with it, and we don't know that, that would also change the calculation. Because as Bill Barr is saying, I think a lot of people like me that have been around him think he's his own worst enemy. We all can be. But the facts are the facts, that if not only was it that he was recalcitrant, he won't give them back, they're his. He doesn't think he should be doing anything. Other presidents have not given back documents. That's one way you can look at it. But if they have information of him showing these documents off to people like Kid Rock, I don't know who, but it'll be another problem, and it'll be something where there'll be a difference between the Biden Justice Department bringing some kind of charge.
Well, just to sharpen, I have about 30 seconds, but Sam, what you're saying is, while people can debate and disagree with giving a pass to any such charges, you're saying you think there is a non-zero group within the voting Republican universe that would view the actual exposure of national security secrets, which can risk the lives of people, that fact could be absorbed in a way that would hurt him.
Correct. Not simply that he refused to give back the documents. I think that some people, many primary voters would understand that. But if it's something where he really went beyond the pale, and these were facts that the Justice Department felt they had to bring this and they weren't being selective about
Yeah.
it, that'll be a major problem for him politically.